Gonna start this little thing here. I had to buy a $25 tap to fix a cheesy oil pan. That's something. I got to put my foot on my camera, and when I do that, we're going to talk about something today. But first of all, I wanted to cover reinstalling this oil pan. You see those pads there? I have another tool, which is a whizzer, which is over there by the car. Maybe we'll walk over there while I struggle through getting this thing on the camera. I have to change pads. This is another tool with a million uses and no excuses not to have one. These little whizzers, especially the 90 degree. I want the one that pivots. It has multiple pivot points. I want to get one like that, but these are the pads, and you'll go through a couple of them. Okay, I prefer the 3M pads. My son said he ordered them, and then I tried ordering them, and we got 2 bags of the Chinese clones, which the 3M pads hold up a lot better than these Chinese clone pads, which leads me to tell you, first of all, about wearing your pity covers, which mine, before I handled my camera, I took my gloves off and I washed my hands. I wanted to talk about something about why this is happening, like just with the auto parts, okay? Can you guys see that? Corporate discrimination. Explain. Okay. Are you available to work days, nights, weekends, holidays, anytime you want to jerk your chain? Can you work 8 to 10 hours per shift and overtime? $16 to $35 an hour. Are you bilingual? You know, all kinds of things. What languages do you speak? How racist can corporate America get? Okay? Anybody intelligent, okay? Anybody intelligent recognizes structure. But perhaps that's why our children are growing up the way they are. Disenchanted, violent, being left out of the loop like their parents. If a parent does not recognize that you have a structured life, like even I do, retired, I want a set schedule. I don't want to be called and interrupted if I get involved in a project, because I do things for me. I'm a producer. I like to have my house cleaned up at times. I like to have clean sheets to sleep on, clean laundry to slip into. I'd like to make, being single, I make a couple meals. On the weekend, I'll cook maybe 2 things at once, so I have food during the week that I don't have to keep cooking. Anyway, this is how the train wreck began in America, okay? Not to mention, there's a government plot to this, okay? The more you work, the more taxes they take, okay? Even the immigrants, they're the ones that get abused at the low wage end of the scale. So they'll hire the Caucasian or citizen, I should say. It's not even just white, it's just black people. There's other Hispanics. They're bilingual, and they'll probably get a better rate because they get to take more taxes out of your check. And that's how this train wreck, bad parts, broken parts, no parts, and that's why every store you walk into, my buddy Andy was just here, and he says he walked into Lowe's the other day and it was like lepers, just like my experience at T-Mobile. Okay, they sold me a service here that doesn't exist. I had to return the router. I took off on Friday, went over to T-Mobile to return the router, and they're in the store. It was like romper room. They're throwing bottles around, and I'm saying, hey, I want to ignore this. I don't want to be ignored here. I got to return this router. Oh, well, you got to send it back. And they turned their backs on me and totally, hey, I was told to bring this back to the store. I don't need it. They totally ignored me and went about playing like I wasn't even there. You can't grab a hold of them, but I'll tell you what, I did clear some shit right off the shelf when I was walking out of there. They think I own a gas station running back and forth and all this other, and I got to return it in 2 weeks or you get penalized. Hey, you know what, T-Mobile, here. So anyway, corporate America no longer, they do not recognize what structure is. And that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with in retail America and every store. Because there have been stores where people like me they get pissed off, the register's broke, you just either leave with the shit or you let it sit there, okay? I'm one of those guys, I really don't want to get arrested, but a couple of times I needed the stuff. I needed it. You know what I mean? And I'm not running around. Things are getting hard to get up here. These stores, as I explained here, where I live in near Hazleton, The store's got a half a dozen of this, 2 of those, 1 of these. You know what I mean? How the freak covers this? Okay. I don't consider AutoZone and them auto parts stores. Okay. When I do a reinstall, okay, when I do an install of a new part, I like fresh new bolts if I can get them. Okay, even like head bolts now, people are realizing you don't put that motor back together and you clean those holes out. And that's another thing in that when they use those liquid gaskets, this stuff, I didn't get it out of my box yet. I'm just at that point of cleaning off the saturated oil and getting the gasket material off. Okay, it's this stuff, and it's up in those bolt holes. You want to get your bolts as tight as possible. Okay, this is a gasket. You do not, absolutely do not crank those bolts down to maximum strength. This gasket sealer, what this gasket sealer is meant to do, and it's something that people don't really notice because they're not mechanical engineers. This doesn't really have the taper that it should here and here. Okay, this pan should be designed to force that gasket material out along the sides. Now this has a taper on the inside here, but it's way too steep to even be considered that for that use. And the outside should be a little tapered. In other words, this should be a little bit like a hump to squeeze that material on the sides. That's how it seals. And that's why when you're cleaning the gasket material off the block, make sure you go up on the sides of the block with a wire brush, maybe some gas. It's a pain in the ass, but that's why a lot of people, this fails and it leaks and they wonder why, what happened. Clean along that block, because there's that gasket material that's up along the side of the block. It got squished out there. Okay, that is my video. And just recognize that corporate America, they are discriminating against the mature, knowledgeable, educated employees. Because as I said, I was doing phone calls to some of these employers. That's a requirement with almost all of them. They want starter-uppers so they don't have to pay them anything. People that don't know or recognize what structure is, simply because they don't want to pay them anything. And they want to discourage the intelligent people and discriminate against people like me that want a structured schedule. I don't want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did that when I was younger, when I was raising kids. I don't have the health to do it anymore. And I'll tell you something, some of the work environments, I don't have the patience to put up with it. Especially if I would be working at a T-Mobile store and seeing that shit, that would not be going on underneath my watch at a store anywhere. And that's how people get hurt. That's how stores end up with tragedies, is hiring people, these irresponsible people. So that is my video, and hopefully I've sufficiently explained that, yeah, I gave a couple employers an employer interview. Because I'll tell you, 95% of them that I talk to, I don't want to work for you. Okay, I just don't. But that's just me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. A flight wing commander off a goddamn United States Navy warship, we're a very rare animal. But most of those people that work for the Navy, the Department of Defense, a lot of them are responsible and mature people, and I would hire those people at any cost, especially if I had a business or a startup business that I wanted to make it run, and I wouldn't work the shit out of the people. But like I said, those people with disabilities like me that got hurt and stuff like that, we got medical things, we got to take medications in the morning, you know, blood pressure, check your sugar and all that other stuff because of the things that we were exposed to. Corporate America doesn't understand those responsibilities, nor do they want to put up with you, nor do they want to pay you anything. So hopefully I've explained where the malfunction is when you walk into a store and everybody is like stupid. That's the reason why the stupidity is happening. Okay? They're not looking for intelligent, structured people or people that even know what structure and education is. Thanks, guys.